Could you please comment on the differences and benefits of investing in different kinds of index funds? For example, cap-weighted, fundamental weighted, and equal weighted.
There is nothing like cap-weighted indexing. It gives you the entire market return. It doesn't care about sectors. It doesn't care about managers. It doesn't care about styles. And in the long run, we know as a fact that it's very difficult for investors to capture the market return. As a group, they can't. And so I go with cap-weighted totally. It also is kind of self-executing because people write, you know, if these hot stocks, whatever they call them, shag stocks or something, sag, rag, what's it called, Mike? Bang, bang, bang. When they fall apart, the index boom will be over. But the reality is that other funds own those same FANG stocks, actively managed funds, in almost the exact proportion as the index fund does. There's just no grounds for that kind of complaint. So, and it's not like we're driving up the price of Amazon if we buy it. We're not a big factor in that market because, you know, we aren't turning the portfolio over; it's just investing new money. And so, it seems to me quite clear that kind of indexing is best. You will find in equal weighted a kind of temptation because it's equal weighted. You don't have to. It requires a lot of work to adjust it and keep everything equally weighted. And every once in a while, including the recent era, equal weighted has done better than cap weighted. But it doesn't represent anything but a new way of looking at the market. And sometimes it will do better, and sometimes it will do worse, and sometimes it will do a lot better, and sometimes it will do a lot worse. So it's just the non-predictability of the returns on the equal weighted portfolio relative to total market that's going to get people thinking, I should have done this, I should have done that, I'm going to get out of this, get out of that, when those things happen. And so the temptation to change is always great. As for the value, I always thought that whole thing was kind of nutty, if you forgive the expression. And we had my sort of friend Rob Arnott brought out this RAPI 1000 fund, and it was based on industry fundamentals, dividend yields, earnings growth, book values, even number of employees, things like that are pretty durable. And he's had a very erratic record, very high volatility relative to the 500, and is probably a hair behind the 500 as we speak today. It was very, very close. He's been ahead a lot of the time, but now he's been behind, and now he's calling for a crash in fundamental indexing. And I don't think that can happen either. I mean, the guy's a little bit of a nut. And they wrote an article about him in the Wall Street Journal. Man, this is a little anecdote. And the journal reporter called me, a big article, actually. And she said, well, how do you sum up your feelings about Rob Arnott? And I said, I just wish I was as sure of anything as he is of everything. and damned if that wasn't the closing line in the article. And I heard from one of his associates that he loved it. He loved it. What to be said? So, you know, fashions come and go. And we'll see a little bit more of this in the cash flows as the year goes on and comes to a conclusion and probably next year. But all this talk about value being better than growth, this year the growth index is up 22.5%, and the value index is up about 10.5%. So that kind of thing happens. Call it reversion to the mean. And that's a fundamental thing. You saw the charts yesterday, and it's always, in my opinion, it's always going to happen. There is no such thing as a permanent solution, a permanent formula, a permanent way to get rich. And just enjoy the market return. And you may do better somewhere else. I have no reluctance to say that. But you don't want to bet your financial future on odds. You know, I got a 1 in 10% chance, 1 in 10 chance of beating the S&P. Why would anybody take that? So I'm very comfortable as life has gone on, and as almost everybody has adopted the S&P or the cap weighted, market cap weighted by total market capitalization. methodology, anyone who's serious about the business. But there are a few kind of outliers, I should say, that do the total stock market. And right now it looks pretty good. I mean, do the equally weighted. So, choose whatever you want. But I think if you're investing for a lifetime, there is no better way to do it. And I will editorialize at this point, and I'm starting to write more about this. I did it to the CFA, too. Just think about this for a minute. You're a mutual fund buyer, and you buy the best managers that are around, looking at past performance, which is not only useless but counterproductive. And we know you start this at 25, and you're going to be investing for the next 75 years. Someone at 25 years old will have a life expectancy of 100 years. So what happens in the next 75 years? Mutual fund, you buy 3 funds or 4 funds, good performing funds. And the average portfolio manager lasts 8 years. Not 75, 8. And the average fund, 50% of them go out of business every decade. So that's 50% and 50% and 50% and 50% and then 25 or something at the end. And so you're going to probably own, we have no way to calculate this, but I think we use, when I gave these examples, that you'll have, let me say, 35 different managers in your lifetime. What is the possibility that 35 managers, some of whom got fired for bad performance, some of whom brought in new managers who clean out the portfolio at great turnover cost, some of which come and some of which go. None of them are going to live for 75 years, more than their present age. And what are the chances that that large number of managers can conceivably outperform someone who is smart enough to pick no portfolio manager at the beginning with the guarantee that his fund will still be run by the same non-portfolio manager at the end? Think about that. So lifetime investing is what we should all be thinking about, and not being paid so much attention to what happens every day, every minute, every week. And listen carefully to Jim Cramer to get the best advice we can.